The two vice presidential candidates today back on the campaign trail in swing states, fresh off last night's debate. Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz were mostly civil, even said they agreed with each other on some issues last night. One thing, though, the candidates did clash over: the 2020 election.
This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
Vance and Walz also trading blows over issues like the conflict in the Middle East we just talked about, immigration and abortion. So a lot covered last night. We'll try to boil that down some as we look back at the debate and look ahead to the race to the White House.
Joining us now is UK University political science professor Luke Perry. Luke, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Well, we're not looking for a winner or loser, but what is your overall takeaway from last night's debate? You know, it seemed to be a departure from other debates, the two actually being civil toward one another.
Yes, this debate was more watchable than debates in recent memory. I think you saw more civility, you saw empathy on both sides in certain situations with some of the personal circumstances that the candidates were dealing with. And so, yes, there were inaccurate statements, there were misleading statements. That does still tend to happen in these types of forums. But this is actually the type of debate I would be happy to assign to my students, and I haven't felt that way in a while.
Interesting. We just talked about a couple of bigger issues that came up, but for you, was there an issue, one or two, that you think really showed the differences in these two candidates and I guess more importantly their tickets, since they really kind of concentrated on the people at the top of the ticket more than each other?
I think the economy and immigration are big issues in this campaign, and I think you saw both of the candidates speak to their not only different policy prescriptions, but different perceptions of the reality. I mean, there's data about how the economy is doing. The inflation rate and GDP is pretty typical as it was now as compared to when Donald Trump was president before COVID. Yet there are very different perceptions, as we saw in the debate, as to where the economy is and how that's impacting people. So that was interesting to me. And then I think other issues like healthcare, climate change, housing, which doesn't typically come up in vice presidential debates, these were issues that we saw very clear differences between the two candidates and what they thought was best for the country.
We did see some clear differences, but how much better do you think Americans got to know J.D. Vance and Tim Walz?
I think these events are helpful within the political analyst community. Vice presidential debates tend to kind of, get put on the backtrack, and people don't seem to think that they matter that much. But it's one of these rare opportunities where you have both candidates, rather than speaking to their partisan followers at rallies, talking to each other in real time, and I think you get a sense of the issues that are important for Senator Vance. The decline of manufacturing is certainly something he cares deeply about and has been a main theme in his career, and he's really trying to portray himself as a more compassionate, conservative kind, sort of the George W. Bush type Republican, with obviously Donald Trump, who he's seeking to help elect. And then on the other side, you saw with Governor Walz, abortion, democracy, these are issues that really animated him. He's particularly passionate about the Democratic vision for these issues.
You said the vice presidential debates typically are more backburnerish. Do you think this one moved the needle at all?
I think for Senator Vance in particular, he had gotten more criticism in terms of some of the things he said as he's joined the ticket. So I do think this was an opportunity for him to show a different side of himself, and I think he did that effectively. On the flip side, I think Governor Walz is more of a as he said, a football coach, cheerleader, energetic, charismatic person that's been helpful for Kamala Harris in rallies. And, he was a little less comfortable in the debate venue. So I think there is some impact there as both sides try to, finagle for the advantage. But the polling's probably going to be minimal, because the reality is most people bring in a political predisposition, and then they see what they see through that lens, and the person on their side did better.
And look, how do these campaigns use this debate to propel them? They're in the final stretch of their campaigns.
I think the immediate after effect is ads, right? We've already seen the Harris campaign cutting ads about Senator Vance's reluctance to say that Trump lost the election. And then beyond that, I think both sides are continually trying to improve. Every day is full of self-evaluation. So they're going to do a debrief afterwards and lean more into what they think worked and then try to correct what they think did not.
Luke Perry, Utica University. We always like your insight. We'll have you back again soon. Still a few more weeks to go before we hit Election Day. Thanks very much, sir.
Thank you, Luke.
My pleasure. Thanks so much.